What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fastcuts. The latest film from South Korean director Shin Jung-won is a baffling mix of ideas and plot points that makes no sense. While Shin's past works also mixed genres and relied heavily on slapstick comedy, Night of the Undead is on another level altogether. The heroine of the story, So-hee, is a girl who lives a happy married life with her husband. Her husband, Man-gil, loves her like a princess, but it didn't take long for her life to fall apart. She recognizes the monstrous entity within Man-gil. The story begins with her realizing that her husband is not a human being. Who is he? What was the purpose of the aliens who came to Earth? What is the purpose behind living in disguise with humans? Is the purpose of these creatures to destroy the human race by spreading the virus? An investigative team also comes to them with answers to these questions. The fight between So-hee, who is trying to save her life from that terrible truth, and Dr. Jang and his friends who come to help, has been prepared in a very thrilling way, with suspense, comedy, a stand-up fight, and a little bit of violence. There's no doubt that this thriller suspense movie that combines horror, comedy, and action will keep the viewers gripped from start to finish. The story begins at Man-gil and So-hee's flat. The beautifully decorated room was full of their wedding pictures. He was cooking food for his beloved. She had no doubts about his love. So-hee mentions her school union to Man-gil while eating. But Gil says that he has a lot of work in the office, and it turns into a small argument between them. Later, So-hee goes to the school union alone. Her friends ask her about her husband, and she says she is happy, but she wasn't. Her friend Young-soon was a bit of a braggart, but Young-soon makes this friend laugh out loud throughout the film. He is talking about another friend in the group, Sarah, when it is said that Sarah is the woman who killed her husband, who cheated on her. You can see the fear on everyone's faces. So-hee comes back to the flat after the function. Gil was already asleep. When So-hee goes to kiss her lover, she sees a scar on his hand that makes her suspicious. The same scar you see on the hands of people who go to the pub with women. She remembers her friend Sarah's life. She sometimes suspects that he is cheating on her. She enlists the help of a detective to track him down. Detective Jang observes Gil's activities and makes some very unusual discoveries. He tells So-hee that Gil goes to the gym and goes to the pub with the ladies. Gil is then tipped off to some unusual activity. Jang says that Gil's main food is petrol, and he says that he's not a human but an alien who came to destroy humans. After hearing that So-hee is his fourth wife, So-hee leaves, unable to believe what he said. So-hee tells her friend Sira Yikand about her situation. So-hee also wants to stab him like Sira, but Sira asks again if you believe that he will kill someone. Back at the flat, So-hee still has doubts. She is afraid of Gil but doesn't show it outwardly. Gil also treats her with maximum affection, but he adds Visho to the water for her drink and So-hee faints. Gil takes her to the hospital, thinking she is dead. Gil, who is crying because his wife is dead, is happy inside. At this time, Sira comes there to meet So-hee. Gil, on the other hand, was busy signing the insurance papers for So-hee's death at that time. Realizing that Gil killed So-hee, Sira tries to kill him. So where do pull and push take place? Meanwhile, So-hee unexpectedly wakes up from unconsciousness, all passed away. But So-hee's return awakens the wolf in him, and he looks for other ways to kill her. Next, we see Dr. John's large lab, where he experiments to destroy the aliens. A police officer named Miller and his accomplices prepare to capture Man-gil. It is here that the true purpose of Gil and his companions is understood. They try to inject humans with a virus and use their DNA to expand their empire of cruel aliens. For that, they target beautiful girls. They realize that if they don't destroy Man-gil and his minions soon, it will lead to a huge disaster. So-hee, who got back to life only by luck, goes to see Detective John again with Sira to kill Gil before he kills him. The detective was cleaning the bathroom at the time. His comedic performance in the film is worth mentioning. He is awaiting their arrival. The detective and Sira agree to help Sohee. The detective said that since Gil is an alien, he can only be killed by giving him a high dose of shock. For that, they set a trap in the bathtub. It was Gil's birthday. The three think that they can shock Gil and kill him by pressing the remote control while he's taking a bath. At the same time, Gil was plotting to kill Sohee elsewhere. For that, he buys very strong poison. He was sure that Sohee would not get away with this. On the other hand, Sohee, along with the detective and Sira, had set a trap for Gil. But very unexpectedly, Sohee's friend Young-soon, whom we saw at the school union, arrives there. Young-soon is the one who boasted that her boyfriend was in Italy that day. Our detective is her lover. Everyone calls him Broccoli because his head is like a broccoli. Sun came to know that her boyfriend was in another woman's flat and brought a gun to kill him, but she didn't expect it to be Sohee at all. Sun comes to the flat and presses the call. The dictator and Sira quickly try to hide, thinking that Gil has come. But in the midst of their frenzy, they went to the very bathroom where they had prepared to kill Gil. At this point, Mr. Sun walks in. She makes a fuss by asking where the broccoli is. Sun says that she just said that her boyfriend is in Italy and that he is in this flat and to drop him off. All this leads to more humorous moments that make the audience laugh. Sun looks everywhere for broccoli. Finally, they reach the bathroom where they were hiding. When he opened the bathroom, he saw Sira sitting on the toilet. The story goes that Sun has been afraid of Sira for a long time because she killed her husband. Sun came like a tiger and crouches like a kitten. Later, it is said that broccoli is good for nothing, and everyone who sees him says that he is an alien. Hearing this, Sohee and Sira look at each other, because it's the same great man who said that Gil is an alien. While talking, Sun says he wants to smoke and turns on the lighter there. It was the remote control to kill Gil. Unfortunately, broccoli was hidden in the bathtub. Broccoli in the bathtub is shocked when the lighter is turned on and the electricity in the flat goes off. With this, Gil, who was coming to the flat, gets stuck in the lift. After climbing about 1,000 steps, Gil comes to the flat. By this time, Sohee and Sira reveal the truth to Sun. Thinking that broccoli is dead, they decide to help each other. He replaces the body of the broccoli and takes it to the dressing machine. By then, Gil had reached the flat. Sohee lovingly invites Gil and tells him to go for a bath. Sohee switches on the lighter when she gets into the bath. Seeing the smoke coming from the bathroom, Sohee, Sira, and Sun come to the door, thinking that he is dead. They say that they have come to give a surprise to Gil on his birthday. Gil, on the other hand, thinks that he missed the opportunity to kill Sohee. After that, they all drank wine together. The thought of the three is how to escape from Gil's hand. This is when the alarm on the dressing machine goes off. The shocked broccoli is kept in it. When the three friends go to check if there is something in the dressing machine, the three friends slyly divert Gil's attention. Young Sun is very worried about the death of broccoli. He is also afraid of Gil. Sun's comedic scenes with fear and sadness are worth mentioning. Sohee and Sira then add sulfuric acid to the wine for Gil to drink. They hope that Gil will die from drinking acid. At this time, Gil saw Sun's cry and passes away. Sun cries because of his love for broccoli. Sohee comes to Gil with a glass of wine. Sohee and her friends are waiting for Gil to drink the wine glass. That's when Gil's new game shocked everyone. A game of stone and paper. The condition is that whoever loses the game must drink wine. Hearing this, Sohee and his team were shocked. They could only stand angry in front of Gil's decision. And so the game begins. Luckily, it was Gil who lost the first game. Gil then drinks the acidified wine. Yet no harm befalls Gil. To their dismay again, they force Gil to drink wine. This time also played with stone and paper, but this time it was the Sun who lost. Gil pours wine for Sun. Sohee and Sira are furious, knowing that it is acidified wine. Sun is about to drink that wine without change. She puts the glass to her lips. She knew her end was near. In the meantime, the broccoli in the dressing machine opened its eyes. Gil goes to that room after hearing the sound. Sohee and his team don't know what to do with. Gil opens the dressing machine and finds the broccoli wrapped in it. Sohee, Sarah, and Sun are shocked to know that Broccoli is still alive. Thinking that Broccoli is a thief, Gil takes the stick in his hand and hits him on the head, so the ball reached Sohee's court again. They make Gil believe that Gil killed Broccoli. Sarah tells Gil, who's not sure what to do. The four of them went out with Broccoli to hide Broccoli's body without anyone knowing. All four were shocked to see the unexpected guests when the door opened. They were Gil's friends who came there to ensure Sohee's death. They are also aliens. After an argument earlier, Gil, Sohee, Sarah, and Sun go out with Broccoli's body, telling their friends to wait there. They decided to bury the broccoli in an undisclosed location. For that, they reach a deserted place. Then a large pit is made by Gil to hide the broccoli. By digging, the Gil makes a hole deeper than itself. Finally, putting broccoli in it, Gil tries to climb up. Gil asks Sohee and the gang to lend him a hand. This time, Sarah comes up with a big shovel and hits Gil on the head. They covered Gil, who was unconscious, in the pit with the broccoli. Thinking that they had escaped, they were about to go back when they saw the shocking sight. Gil, knocked unconscious and buried in the pit, suddenly pops his head out. Only Gil's head is visible from the pit. Seeing him and shocked, the three of them beat Gil on the head with their shovels. Realizing that Gil is unmoved and that he will come back, Sohee and his team rush to the car to escape as quickly as possible. But Gil, who is an alien, can run faster than the car. Gil comes up from the pit and runs with the car. The terrified trio drives the car with all their might, and Gil is behind the car. At one point later, they don't see Gil. When they feel relieved that they have escaped, they come to know the truth that Gil is on top of the car. Gil dismantles the top of the car. Heading through it, he tries to harm all three. Scared, Sohee gets distracted driving and crashes into a huge divider. Beyond that divider was a deep chasm. Gil crashes into the mountain when Sohee hits the brakes. Their hope is that Gil will not come back alive from that crash. Peacefully, they return to the flat, but another danger awaited them in the flat. They reach Sohee's flat, exhausted. But before leaving, they find Gil's alien friends who have entered the flat, passed out after drinking acid-laced wine. Everyone had blue liquid coming out of their mouths. Sohee, Sarah, and Sunny have put their hands on their heads thinking that their bodies should be taken somewhere and covered. So they go out in the car with all four of Gil's alien friends. They decide to leave the bodies somewhere. Sarah is driving the car. Unfortunately, the car went straight in front of the police patrol. A police officer comes to the friends who are confused about what to do. They hold him in such a way that he leaves no doubt. But when asked about the broken bonnet light in front of the car, they had no answer. Suspicious with this, the officer tries to check their car. The fact that four men were lying unconscious inside the car also made him suspicious. They try to pretend that they are husband and wife, that someone with them is their friend, and that they are going to a party, but the officer was not ready to blindly believe them. Sarah is asked to take a drunkenness test. Realizing that Sarah, who blew on the machine, was drunk, the police took the car and the occupants into custody. The friends reached the police station and made several attempts to escape, but the police interrogate them in detail. Most of the questions are about the men in the car. Finally, when he went to check the car again, Colgate saw the four people who were taken to be buried, thinking they were dead, sitting in the car smiling. With this, Sohee, Sarah, and Sun got confused. The people in the car are telling falsehoods to escape from the hands of the police, because once they find out that they're aliens and what their true purpose is, it will all be over. To make matters worse, the government has even appointed a special force to arrest Man Gil. In the midst of questioning like this, a guest unexpectedly walks in. It was none other than our very own Broccoli. All three were equally shocked to see Broccoli. We will see Sohee, Sarah, and Sunny wondering if it was just a dream. But all this comes in the story in a way that makes the audience laugh and feel a little scared. Everyone is afraid that Broccoli will tell the truth, but luckily Broccoli's memory has been seriously damaged since the shock. Broccoli can't remember who he is, where he came from, or why he came. Our Broccoli is dying without remembering anything. Soon Broccoli's eyes fall on Sun. Immediately, Broccoli begins to speak as if he remembered something. Sun is standing pale and white. Sohee and Sarah's situation was no different, but to everyone's surprise, the helpless Broccoli asks, "If you know me." Broccoli asks if they went to elementary school together. All three tell police they don't know Broccoli. Broccoli's standing and sitting at that point is pathetic, but the incident is comedy, so everyone is making excuses to escape from the hands of the police. At this time, Gil, who was hit by a car at another place and went to mountain, is escaping. He has a large cut on his cheek. Gil's food is petrol. Gil drinks petrol from the big jar he saw nearby, and with that the big wound on his cheek is disappearing. After regaining full health, Gil is looking for Sohee and his friends. He walks to the police station. Seeing Gil from a distance, Sohee, Sarah, and Sun get scared and hide near a cardboard box. Gil sees the police station and comes up there. Gil asks if he should make a phone call. There, Gil sees Broccoli. Broccoli asks Gil if he went to elementary school with him, but Gil doesn't seem to know him. Gil calls Sohee from the police station. Unfortunately, the phone was in Sohee's hand. Hearing the phone ring from Sohee's hiding place, Gil goes there and meets them. Just when they think it's all over, Gil talks to them as if he has no memory of anything. With that, Sohee and his friends were at peace. They comfort that Gil doesn't even remember what happened. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Gil's alien companion is captured by the special forces. He is the one who prepared the poison for Sohee, but no matter how much he asks, he doesn't tell more about Gilly. There is little hint of Gil's superhuman strength when inflicting a very high level of shock. From this, we can understand that Gil is not a fool. Later, they learn Gil's location from the tracker prepared to catch him. Sohee and his friends, Gil and Gil's alien friends, say goodbye to the police and leave the station. Along with them, the police are sending Broccoli to the nearest station, so Broccoli joins them. Sohee and the team are holding their breath, not knowing what will happen. Their only consolation is that Gil has no memory of anything. Gil behaves very normally with them during the journey. Gil asks them what happened to him. Realizing that he will be caught at any moment, Sarah sits with a knife in his hand. But Sohee tricks him into believing that their car was involved in an accident, and that's how Gil fell into the terrain. But Gil tells them that he remembers things till he went to dig the hole. Gil asks what happened next. Sarah answers it. They say that while digging the hole, Gil went into the forest to urinate and heard a loud noise there. But when they came to see what it was, they said Gil was nowhere to be found. So they look for Gil and say they went to Gil's flat. Gil's alien companions also have many doubts about their behavior, but again, Gil asks why he went home looking for her missing in the forest. With this, Sohee and his team answered again. Sarah grabs hold of the sword, but then Gil himself says that sometimes he thought he had reached home and so he went there. Gil's next question when he was relieved again. Gil suspects that his pants were not even wet after he went to pee. His pants were not even slightly wet after falling into the sink. With this, Sohee strategically tries to divert Gil's attention. Gil suddenly braked the car. Sohee asks Gil what happened, but then he says that he needs to pee. With this, Sohee felt some relief. Sohee tells him to go out and pee, but when he doesn't move, Sohee asks what the matter is. Then Gil says, "Should I come out and throw it back in the gutter?" With this, Sohee and his friends realize with shock that Gil clearly remembers everything that happened. They were fully convinced that they had been caught. With this, Sun tries to open the door lock, but Gil figures it out. Gil asks Sunny, "Where are you running?" With this, the blood on the faces of the three dried up. Gil's decision is that since we tried to kill each other, we can all die together. Later, a big fight took place in the car. Finally, the car lost control and overturned into a big ditch. Sohee, Sarah, and Sun struggled to get out of the overturned car. They seek refuge in a large empty building to escape Gil, but Gil is determined to get Sohee at any cost. Gil also gets out of the car. Later, we see the extraordinary resistance of the three girls to escape from Gil's hand. Will Sohee and friends escape from the hands of this alien virus? At this time, the investigation team is preparing a big plan to catch Gil elsewhere. They realize that Gil has become very dangerous. Tracking Gil's whereabouts, they set out to capture Gil. A large police force was ready for it. Maybe they can save Sohee, but eliminating Gil is a very impossible task. Anticipating all this, Special Forces Officer Miller goes to catch him. So Sohee and her friends took shelter in that big isolated building. Gil was right behind them. Gil found them. Immediately, Sohee and his gang run and hide in a room. They quickly closed the door. Later, the journey took place inside a tunnel. But even there, they could not take their eyes off Gil. Gil throws a large iron tower above them. All three fell under it. Gil comes to them with the smell of death. After a while, Sohee opens her eyes. Sohee sees Gil coming and tries to wake both of them up, but Sun is unmoved. Sarah has a little life. She tries to defend Gil as best she can, but Gil is hanging onto her like a kitten. After that, Sarah is also unmoved. Gil slowly approaches Sohee. Gil tells Sohee that maybe, if you hadn't called your friends, you wouldn't have had to suffer such a painful death. Sohee didn't know what to do. She realized that she was going to be killed at this very moment. Gil's steel hands rested on Sohee's neck. She gasped for breath, eyes wide open. Gil is taking her life so lightly. But at this time, unexpectedly, some people come there. It was none other than the Special Forces officer and his team assigned to capture Gil. The sound of cars below, Gil leaves Sohee's grip and goes there. Gil realized that they had surrounded the entire building. Gil went to them ready for anything. Then exciting action scenes unfold. At this time, Sohee was relieved that his life had been saved. Somehow she gets out from under the tower and wakes up Sarah. Later, they go out after taking Sun and him. That's when they see a confrontation between Gil and the cops. Gil smashes each one mercilessly. Seeing this, they are at a loss as to what to do. They realize that the police can't do anything to Gil. Then they try to escape. This time there's a terrible conflict between Gil and the police. Gil handled all the cops. In the end, it was just Gil and the special police officer. Their conflict is such that only one of the two will remain. He is clinging to Gil, but being an alien being, it was impossible to eliminate Gil. Meanwhile, Gil's alien companions are caught by the police. Sohee, Sarah, and Sun try to escape. As they approach the car, they saw Broccoli sitting in it. Broccoli also comes with its own injection to eliminate Gil. But after being shocked, Broccoli could not do anything. Broccoli gives the injection to Sohee. They were convinced that there was no other way to eliminate Gil. Meanwhile, Gil has Police Officer Miller locked inside his iron fists. Sohee stabs Gil with a poison syringe in his neck as he backs away. Gil let go of John's grip and turned to Sohee. She was hanged and thrown. Friends run up and pick up Sohee. Gil came to them to eliminate the trio, but by then the poison prepared by Broccoli had started to enter Gil's body. Gil's eyes turned red. Blue blood started flowing from him. The power of the alien creature Gil ends there. Later, we see the friends who are together on a beautiful riverbank. They share the details. This time, Broccoli comes there, fully healthy. Later, Broccoli and Sun share their hidden love, and they become one. Night of the Undead is an adventurous story told in a very thrilling manner with a lot of emphasis on comedy and action. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching. See you next time.